Are you taking advantage of the great artistic mix decorative masks to make your own unique designer series paper? If not, you may want to explore this super inexpensive way to get amazing backgrounds for your handmade cards. Stay with me to see how I've achieved a multitude of designs with just one pack of products. Hello and welcome. This is Karen Summy, an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up, and I'm excited that you've dropped in today. Today I'll be featuring the Stampin' Up! Artistic Mix decorative masks in the 2022-2023 annual catalog on page 128. These masks all come in a single pack, and I've been having a lot of fun doing all sorts of artsy stuff with them, as you can see in this brief montage. I've been absolutely astounded by how many different looks I could achieve, and very quickly, by using these masks. As much as I love my designer series paper, and believe me when I say that I do, it's also fun to get creative with these artistic masks as well. Let's dive in and I'll show you how you can do this too. I think you'll be pleased with how easy it is. For my first project, I'm using these two masks. They don't have an official name other than the product name for the pack, but they have a feel of Moroccan tile and stained glass to me, so that's how I'll reference them. These two masks make absolutely lovely backgrounds by themselves or as a pair. I'm going to start with the stained glass mask, and my first step is to get set up. That means putting down a piece of mini grid paper for easy alignment, putting down my cardstock to make my background on, and then securing my mask over the top of my cardstock. Whenever you're using a mask or any kind of stencil, you want it to stay put, so I'm securing mine with a little bit of washi tape. If you're unfamiliar with washi tape, it has very low tack, meaning it's not very sticky. Maybe just a slight bit more than a post-it note. The cardstock beneath the mask may also try to move, but the color change once you start will be obvious immediately, and you can simply lift the mask temporarily and readjust the paper. For this design, I'm using 3 new Stampin' Up! In colors for 2022 to 2024. They're Parakeet Party, Orchid Oasis, and Tahitian Tide. These colors are stunning and they work very well together. My card base will be Tahitian Tide, and I'm going to blend that color last. For now, I'm going to start laying down the Parakeet Party and Orchid Oasis. To accomplish this, I'll be using my Stampin' Up! Blending brushes. As you can see, I've already been crafting with them. My first order of business is to check to be sure there is no residual ink that will transfer to my new project. Now before I continue, I have a tip for you about cleaning these blending brushes. Many people choose not to wash them, but I have washed mine numerous times with my hands and plain water, and they bounce right back to their original shape and condition. They do have a little bit of staining, but the bristles themselves are not harmed. I often do a bit of a squeegee maneuver with my hand to remove some of the water and give them a head start on drying. I leave them at least overnight to dry. I do recommend that you always have at least 1 or 2 brushes dry at all times, just in case of a crafting emergency. Now, on with the process. I'm rubbing my blending brush across the ink pad to pick up some color. I start off the paper to be sure I don't get too much ink on my paper to start. Then I start applying the ink by blending in a circular motion. To get a good design, I'm trying to make a triangular pattern of color on my paper. Not a standard triangle, but just some type of triangle. That's a good design technique. I repeat the same process with the Orchid Oasis ink. Then finally, I repeat the process a 3rd time with the Tahitian Tide ink. Before finishing up, I take a good look at the entire sheet to be sure I've covered every part of the paper. Then it's time for the reveal. I remove the mask carefully and check the ink coverage. I'm quite happy with this result. I love this combination of colors. Now before I put away my stained glass mask, I want to offer another quick tip about caring for it. While there doesn't appear to be anything on the surface of this mask, remember that I was just rubbing ink all over it with my blending brushes. So it's important to clean that off. Ordinarily, I would spray water on the mask directly over my trash can and then rub it clean and dry with a paper towel. But I wanted to show you the process here. I clean both the front and the back sides of the mask. Failure to do this can result in an intrusion of residual ink onto my next project, and I don't want that. Next, it's time to lay down some ink using my Moroccan tile mask. I again take the time to align the new mask with the previous pattern. It's important to pay attention to every part of the pattern in all four corners to be sure it's evenly placed. I tape down the mask and get ready to start the second layer of ink. At first, it may seem strange to apply ink directly on top of the previous layer, but it works out beautifully if you've chosen your colors well. The Tahitian Tide is a lighter color of ink, and even though I've already used this color on the stained glass part of the design, a light touch with the blending brush will still allow the pattern to shine through this new layer. I continue to add the ink until the entire surface is covered. As I blend, I'm not too worried that some areas may be lighter than others. If you've ever been in a church or other building with stained glass, you know that sunlight streaming through the glass casts a variety of shadows of various depth. Now it's time for the reveal. Is that not amazing? It's hard to believe I could get such an elegant look from a simple two-step process. And now I'm ready to turn this beautiful custom paper into a finished card. Look at how gorgeous it is on my Tahitian Tide cardstock. Remember, I completed this design with one piece of cardstock, two masks, 3 colors of ink, and some blending brushes. This is a quick way for crafters from beginner to advanced to wow your family and friends with your skills. Now, because I'm focused on the masking and blending processes for this video, I went ahead and completed my card off camera. I'll be publishing a related video soon on how I made this cute circular swirl on the front of my card. That was super simple too. For now though, the most important takeaway I'll give you is that you can use literally anything as a focal point for a card like this that you create yourself. And with that, let's look at one more project using this mask set. For my second project, I tried something different. It was truly an experiment, coupling a stained glass tile I previously inked and then adding the large squares on top. The original ink was Parakeet Party with a slight hint of Sweet Sorbet. For this card, I used Orchid Oasis for my card base, so I opted to add Orchid Oasis ink using the large squares mask. What I learned earlier from this mask was that it does not have a one-to-one correspondence with all of the other patterns. That didn't really disturb me greatly, as I previously made another card that combined the small squares, turned on their sides to make diamonds, with the large squares mask. While the diamonds didn't meet the large squares in the same place across the cardstock, they still made a great pattern and a pretty finished card. So I experimented with this combination of masks, using my blending brush to lay down Orchid Oasis ink over the previously inked paper. Initially, I wasn't sure I would like the result, but I wasn't disappointed. Just like a great painting, there comes a time during the process when you're a little skeptical of what you'll get. Notice that the cardstock under the mask slipped out of place, and I easily readjusted it to finish my blending. And now for the final time, here's the reveal. I must say I'm pretty pleased with the result. Despite my own skepticism, the patterns came together and I could still see the stained glass beneath the dark ink. And here's my result. I trusted my own instincts about the colors I added, choosing tuxedo black ink and gold thread and embellishments. You know, it's so much fun to just set aside your fears and step out with a little faith and try some different designs and techniques. Here are a couple of additional projects I finished with the Artistic Mix decorative masks. If you've enjoyed seeing these easy techniques, I hope you'll give me a thumbs up below the video. I also value your comments on what you liked best. Feel free to leave those comments or questions for me and I'll get back to you as needed. Meanwhile, if you'd like to see more of my videos, hit the subscribe button. And finally, if you want to be notified whenever I upload new content, just click that little notification bell beside the subscribe button below. Thanks again for watching. Please remember to share your beautiful handcrafted creations with the world that needs them so desperately. I hope to see you again. Have a blessed day.